Hello, I'm the Doctor.
Hey Who fans, and welcome to the Big Blue Box podcast. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And this is episode 22.
Woohoo!
I guess this is our Christmas special.
It is, mate. Are you feeling festive?
I am very festive.
Are you?
Yeah,
Are you wearing a Christmas jumper?
I am.
Are you really?
Yeah.
I demand to see a picture on the Big Blue Box Facebook page because I want to see it.
I'll stick one on later. It's not a Who one, but it is a Christmas themed jumper for sure.
Oh, so good on you.
Yeah. What about you? You feeling festive, mate?
I am feeling kind of festive. I was hoping that I'd be wearing my Christmas jumper, but sadly, it hasn't even been dispatched. So I'm worried I'm not even going to get it for Christmas Day.
I'm guessing that you've ordered this from a retailer with the letters FP in the title.
Yes, you'd be right.
Yeah, because their delivery is super fast.
Well, I ordered it like 2 weeks ago, if not more, probably more actually, and it was in stock when I ordered it. I thought, yeah, that's good, it's in stock, plenty of time. And I did say on the last podcast I'd be wearing it, so sorry to let the listeners down, but it's still in a warehouse somewhere.
Not to worry.
Never mind.
Not to worry. So what have you been up to this week? Anything good?
Just doing the old Christmas shopping. I am one of these people that goes out and seems to come back with lots of stuff for himself. Go out with a list of people I need to buy for, but don't get any of it. But yeah, I've done all right. I'm polishing off the old Christmas list. Apart from that, not a lot. How about you?
Yeah, I've had a bit of a quiet one, really. Not too much going on. I've just I've been really into series 2 because you and I have had to watch a certain episode for this week's retro review. Yeah, and it really drew me in, and I just started watching it through again.
I know exactly what you mean, because when I got to the end of this episode that we're going to review, I was exactly the same. I actually wanted to kickstart watching the rest of it. I wanted to go straight on to the next episode. For time reasons, I didn't, because I haven't had a lot of spare time lately. But yeah, I know what you mean. I think I might do the same. I really want to watch the rest of Series 2 again. Yeah,
because I hadn't watched it in a while, this one. I think it's been maybe 2.5 years since I watched this particular episode. And it just drew me in, the old Russell T Davies stuff, and loved it. So I've watched probably 2/3 of Series 2.
I was trying to think when I last watched it. Actually, it is probably the same as you. It's a long time ago. It's certainly great to go back and revisit it.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Shall we do the news, buddy?
Let's land it.
Let's do it. So it's a bit shy on news this week. Not much going on in the world of Who.
No. What have we got then?
Yeah. So the first up, we've this first one's probably the best bit of news we've had in a while. It's very short, but for Series 9, we've now got the first title revealed.
Oh right. Okay.
Yeah. So you're totally, you wanted to stay spoiler free on this one, didn't you?
Well, I did, because when just before we started, you said that you'd got this bit of news, and I've somehow have managed to miss this, so I don't even know what the title is. Do we know who's written the episode?
Do we know? That's a good point.
Do we know? Is it a Moffat?
We don't know at this point in time. Stephen Moffat. Yeah, he's revealed the title.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it was at a press screening for Last Christmas held at the BFI cinema in London.
I love the fact that Moffat, we said this the other week, I love the fact that Moffat's just on a tangent. He's just like, just revealing everything, isn't he? He's just well, if you're not going to do it, I'll just tell everyone. Yeah. Good old Moff.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So he was at the BFI last night. They had this press screening of Last Christmas. And because he's revealed the title, the BBC had to get on it pretty quick and do an official announcement. So we don't know who's wrote it yet, but it starts filming early January. So I'm assuming it's one of the first ones.
Oh, right.
You ready, dude?
Okay, yeah. What's it called?
The Magician's Apprentice.
Ooh. That sounds like a Moffat title. The Magician's Apprentice.
Yes, I've this has gone around my head quite a bit today, and I don't know what to make of it. It's
Does that imply new companion to you?
Possibly, yeah, it does. Yeah, and I've also got this kind of Harry Potter J.K. Rowling vibe.
Yeah,
I'm not sure why. Yeah,
I'm also thinking back to when Capaldi said in Time Heist, didn't he say something about I was going for magician, but I got something else?
Yeah, he was going for. Yeah, he said something, didn't he? When he was when the creature was kind of going to town on his mind, and I think he say something like I was going for minimal and ended up with magician.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, very cool. Yeah, so it probably got no relevance, but it's quite a nice little sort of tie-in if it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting title.
Interesting indeed. So so they're filming that in early January. So when's that going to come on our screens? Is it going to be August again? September?
Well, I was thinking that when you said it, because I think they started filming much later in the year for this series that's just gotten Series 8. So that maybe suggests that perhaps it's going to air a bit earlier in the year. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
It used to be around Easter time, didn't it? It always Easter seemed to be when the new series of Doctor Who started. So
yeah, true.
Perhaps they're going to try that again. I don't know.
Yeah, well, does it really matter if you paid attention to a few of the rating stories that the tabloids put out recently? No one's going to watch it anyway.
Straight, apart from me and you, and a handful of others.
Yeah, exactly. So, The Magician's Apprentice, Series 9.
Cool.
Sounds cool. Next bit of news: those guys over in Cardiff, the Doctor Who Experience, they're pushing that pretty heavily now. They're advertising on TV and in cinemas too.
Wow, I hadn't seen this. So what, they're doing adverts for the actual the exhibition, are they?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Pushing some money out on it then.
Yeah, because I'm not sure that word has got around the planet just yet that the whole first part of the experience is now Capaldi instead of Matt Smith. They've replaced all of his stuff, and they've added loads more props, a couple more sets as well. So there's just a ton more stuff going on, and I'm not sure that it was marketed that well when it launched or on the lead up to it. So
I must admit, I've seen quite a few pictures on Facebook of some of my friends that have gone to it. It really does look good, actually. I'd love. In fact, I really am going to try and get down to next year because it does look cool.
Yeah.
And you're going to go next year, aren't you?
Well, we're in Cardiff for New Year next week.
Oh, right.
Oh, sorry, the week after next.
Yeah.
So I might try and get some tickets because I know it's open on New Year's Day. So I might try and go.
Can you imagine all this poor old staff all hung over with Exterminate blasting in their ears? It'd be murder for them, won't it?
Oh, crazy, yeah.
Have you done the location tour? I can't remember.
Not the location tour, no.
Oh, right, no. I thought you had for some reason, because I'd love to do that.
That would be cool. We should, I think maybe next year might be the Big Blue Podcast Experience Day.
Yeah, that would be great.
We should do that.
Definitely, mate. Yeah, I'd love to do that.
Yeah. And speaking of next year, we've got some, I'm not going to reveal anything just yet, but we've got some convention-y stuff lined up for you guys next year. So should hopefully be able to tell you more in the new year, early on.
Yeah. Got some exciting stuff on the way, haven't we? It's a lot of stuff bubbling under the surface.
Indeedy.
Yeah.
Indeedy. So that is all the news we have for you this week.
Yeah, well, we're nearly into the new year, so I expect there'll be loads of stuff coming up. But yeah.
So I think everybody's pretty much winding down for the year now, so there's probably not a great deal going on. But short and sweet.
Next thing will be Last Christmas. That'll be the next big thing.
Yes, it will be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything will go nuts. I'm not going to see it. I don't think I'm going to see it until Boxing Day.
So it's a week today, isn't it? So it's a week today, Christmas Day. So what time are we now? Not quite there yet, but we'll be. This time next week, it'll be on.
Yes.
Yeah. And you won't be able to see it actually on transmission. So you're going to have to try and avoid all the spoilers and stuff.
Oh, that's going to be... Oh, God.
Keep off the old net.
We'll have to stay off the interwebs.
Yeah.
I reckon. Yeah.
Although I'm not... Do you know what? I'm not too fussed about spoilers, actually. I know some people get really... no spoilers, no spoilers. I have to be honest. I'm not that bothered. I actually quite like. I don't want it ruined for me, but I quite like, even though I won't get to sort of hear it. I'll get to probably see it, even though I won't get to sort of watch it properly till later. I will go on and just try and get a feel for the general reaction, because I just love hearing, as soon as an episode's finished, I just love to see what people have made of it. So even though I'll probably not get to watch it properly on transmission, I will dip in and just see what the reaction to it is, which some people might not do, but I just, I'm not too bothered about spoilers.
Yeah, I mean, for things like that, I'm not too fussed, to be honest. If I miss an episode, like for Series 8 that's been and gone this year, I think there was maybe two episodes that I didn't watch when it was broadcast on Saturday evening, because I just wasn't around. And I didn't stay off Twitter. I didn't really mind looking at people's reactions for things like that. That was okay. The only thing that I kind of steer clear of is, do you remember when all the well, not all of them, but a big chunk of scripts was they were leaked before the Series 8 launched?
That's right. Yeah, I remember all that.
Yeah, those I did steer clear of, because I didn't want to know what was coming up for that series, because it was a new Doctor, a new story arc and all that kind of stuff. I wanted to go into it fresh as and not know what was coming up really.
Yeah, I was the same, and I was quite surprised actually how easy they were to find. I mean, they seemed to just be everywhere on the web. They were so easy to get hold of. But I was the same. I had no sort of inclination to sort of look at them or anything like that. I wanted to go into the new series fresh as well.
Yeah, and I had a couple of people actually that said, "Would you like to have them so you could talk about them on your podcast?"
Oh, right.
Yeah, and I was like, thanks, but no thanks. Don't get me wrong, I was tempted. I came close to saying, yeah, let's have a look, but I was in fan mode at that point. Do you know what I mean? I wanted to enjoy that Series 8 and the new Doctor as a pure fan, and report on it afterwards, rather than know what was coming up and be spoilt for my own selfish reasons.
Yeah, I must admit, I did get tempted when there was a lot of buzz on Twitter about episode, what was it, 4 or 5? Everyone was saying, God, this is going to really divide fandom. And at that point, because they were leaked quite a bit before the air date. And I must admit, at that point, I was tempted. I really wanted to know what everyone was on about. I was like, what is this big thing that's going to divide fandom? But I did manage to resist. But that was the only time when I was getting close to thinking, I really want to know what everyone's talking about, because you started to feel a bit like, I was amazed how many people had read the scripts and were talking about them, and I started to feel a little bit out of the loop then. And I'm still surprised it caused such a fuss, because I think it was the big fallout between the Doctor and Clara. I think that was what people were talking about. So it wasn't even, it was a big thing, but it wasn't anything major. I thought it was going to be a real revelation by the buzz.
Yeah.
But I think it was just that. I think it was the fact that they had this big fallout and the Doctor was, considered to be quite mean or whatever, and
Yeah,
it wasn't the big reveal. I thought. I kept waiting for this episode that had been talked about, and it wasn't as big as I thought it was going to be.
Right. Yeah, Regia. I think there was the only buzz that I remember around that time with these script leaks was it Listen? The episode Listen, because people did say that there was a big moment within that episode where, I think it was the bit where towards the end, where we go back to the barn that the War Doctor was in the Day of the Doctor.
Yeah,
there was that, and then it turned out that Clara, the little boy that Clara was trying to, wasn't it the Doctor as a boy?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was left open to interpretation. I did wonder if we were going to go back to that actually at some point, but obviously we didn't or haven't so far. But yeah, it was. I think that was the strong inclination that it was the Doctor, and Clara had kick-started the whole thing of being scared of something under the bed. And
That's
all that.
Right.
Yeah.
So the Doctor was living in a barn. They weren't doing that great on old Gallifrey at the time. Maybe redundancies, maybe.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Perhaps Baruza had, cut the I don't know, the family allowance that year or something. But yeah, I must admit, I remember someone saying as well, because a lot of people had watched the episodes then leaked after the scripts, didn't they?
That's
And
right.
a lot of people had watched them in this fuzzy black and white, and they were slightly different to how they aired. I remember there was a slightly different ending to the Dalek one that leaked online. And there was a bit from that episode, Listen, where you saw the kid, you actually saw his face, which was cut.
Okay.
So I always remember thinking, oh, that poor kid, I bet he was, a little bit gutted so that, that was actually cut because you only saw the back of his head. And that's one of the things I'm slightly disappointed with the Series 8 box set. Actually, there's no deleted scenes on there, and we know that they exist because they've all sort of been online already. And like the beheading scene in Robin of Sherwood that was cut out wasn't sort of put back in, and there's, like I say, the ending to the Dalek episode. There's a sort of alternative ending, and I would have liked to have seen them included on the box set because they've all sort of been circulating online in this very bad black and white sort of fuzzy image, but it would have been nice to have seen them properly, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So maybe they'll do a super duper box set with all those included. It wouldn't surprise me.
Maybe special edition.
A special edition, because they've just done that with Sherlock. Really surprised me. The series 3 of Sherlock only came out a few months back, and the BBC have already done a special edition of the special edition. I'm like, well, what? So yeah, they are a bit cheeky like that. It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, well, they run out of cash fairly quick, don't they?
Don't they just?
So, so what we were talking about, right, the Doctor Who experience.
Yes.
We went on to tangent there.
We did.
Yeah, so you'll probably see that on TV at some point or in the cinema if you're at the Flicks in the next week or two.
I should be looking out for that.
Yeah, and if I do manage to get over there on New Year's Day, I'll be sure to put a load of pics up on the Facebook page.
Yeah, cool. That'd be good.
Yeah, and we'll do a Big Blue Box meet up as well at the experience. Yeah,
definitely. Go and do some locations. That'd be great.
Yeah, and we'll invite all you guys along. We'll do a massive podcast listener meetup.
That would be great.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Get in touch if you want to join on that.
Yeah.
You can imagine us all on a coach, all singing like the Jolly Boys outing, the Big Blue Box outing.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Right, that's going to wrap for news. There isn't much. So because we're really thin on the ground for news this week, before we get into our retro review, I thought it'd be cool for you and I to do a Doctor Who top 3.
Highlights of this year.
Yeah, so I thought it'd be cool to pick 3 things that you're just your fave thing about Who this year, and it doesn't matter what it is. It could be an episode that you've enjoyed, a particular collectible or a character or a book, whatever you like, anything Who related that's your favourite thing.
Yeah, cool. I mean, there's loads, isn't there? It's hard to narrow down to 3 actually, but there's been some great stuff. I mean, there's been loads and loads of merchandise and books out this year. I know you've bought quite a bit as well, haven't you?
Yeah.
One of the ones I loved actually, and funny enough, I hadn't written this on my list, but you've just reminded me of it. Talking about books, was the Engines of War, which is all about the actual Time War.
Okay.
That's a really good book. Have you got that?
I haven't. Is that the War Doctor one or the Capaldi?
Yes. No, it's the War Doctor one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's worth picking up because actually that was a really good read.
Okay.
So I'm going to throw that one in there. I hadn't written it down. I'd actually forgotten about it till just now. But that's a good one.
Okay. Yeah. So is that your number 3 or is that just an additional?
Oh, well, that's a 3.5.
3.5.
That's a number. That's just an addition. Sorry, I've just thrown that one in. Yeah. What's your number 3?
So my number 3, I'm going to start off with it's a collectible, I guess. It's the 50th anniversary pin badge set.
Brilliant.
Which I know you also have.
Well, After I saw your picture of it,
yeah,
I immediately wanted it, and it took me a while to get it. But I got to agree with you. It's a great set. It's something simple. I don't know, something about it. It just, if you say pin badge set, perhaps doesn't sound that exciting, but it really is a great little set, isn't it? I think the
awesome.
box it's in.
Yeah.
I agree with you. It's a brilliant little set. That.
Yeah. So I got this for my birthday this year, and I was really surprised because it wasn't something that I'd looked at a lot because I'd been aware of it. I think it'd been out for a while before my birthday, and I hadn't really paid much attention to it. It's not something that I would have purposely gone out of my way to go and pick up. But when I did open it, I was like, wow. And as you say, the box is really, really nice. And the badges themselves, they've just got this real kind of cool look about them. You know, they don't have the doctors' faces on them or anything like that. It's just their standout features of each of their costumes, really. And they look very cool. The only thing I need to get to complete it, which I know you've got, is the Capaldi badge.
Yeah, I'm glad they did that. They got that out pretty quick as well, didn't they?
Yeah, looks cool.
Yeah, it's a great set. They're very sort of what's the word? They're quite simple. They sort of represent each Doctor by the costume, don't they? Each badge, and they're very sort of modern design, but very simple. Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah. So what's your?
That's my number 3, is it?
Yeah. What's your? What is this your 3 properly, or is this your?
Yeah, let's go through. I'll tell you, if you can see, I'm looking at this list in front of me, and I've got loads on there. Actually, it's difficult to pick. I'll tell you one of the ones I'm going to throw in at number 3, and I think this is just because I've always wanted one, and it's such a simple thing. I don't know what has taken them so long to get an official one out, and I know loads of fans have made their own for years, but the BBC finally got a 7th Doctor ? Umbrella out on the market only probably 5-6 weeks ago, and it's a simple thing. I absolutely love it. I've always wanted one. And it's really good. It's a really sturdy umbrella. I won't be taking it outside because it's bound to blow inside out as soon as I go outside, especially at the minute. It's really windy today. So I wouldn't actually take it out, but it's something I've just always wanted. And it's good to have a proper official BBC one. So the ? Umbrella is a highlight of this year. And I'm going to put that at number 3. And it wasn't even that expensive either.
That's your 3.
Yeah, that is my official number 3.
Cool. Okie dokie. My number 2. Now, I apologise up front for this one because I'm going to be a bit vague with this one because it's not something that I know too much about. And this sounds weird, but all will be revealed. I was looking at some figures. Because for ages now I've wanted this particular Who figure, and it's the David Tennant 10th Doctor figure that comes. The costume it's the typical brown suit with the long coat and the little sonic screwdriver and stuff. But there's this one particular figure that's I don't know what wave it's from, but there's something about the design of the costume or the face or something that was slightly different to the other waves that they released.
Oh, right.
And I can't for the life, because I did a little bit of research before, and I thought, I'm going to try and get hold of that, and I found it on eBay. Somebody was selling it. It was a tad more pricey than I wanted to pay, but I thought, sod it, I'll get it. So number 2 is my Tennant action figure. But what was very cool about it is the person that I bought it from on eBay also threw in a Martha Jones figure,
cool.
and a K9 figure for free.
Wow! And
they kind of complement the set really nicely, so it goes really well because I already had a TARDIS, the 10th Doctor TARDIS scale that comes in that range.
That's still one of the best, actually. That one. That's the one with the sort of clear windows and. I don't, because they've done a few since then, but if it's the one I'm thinking of, I still think that's the best character options TARDIS, that one. Is that the one with the sort of clear windows and it's quite detailed, isn't it?
Yes, it's that one.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
So it's nothing amazing. It wasn't, and when I say pricey, don't get me wrong, it wasn't, for what it was, it was more expensive than you would pay for a new one in the shop, but it wasn't a great deal more. But for some reason, I just really wanted it. When you just see a figure and you just, not everybody gets it. They think, why the hell would you want that? But I'm not sure. I just really wanted it, and the person threw in a couple of extra figures, and it's just awesome. So that's my number 2.
That's really cool that you threw these figures in as well, though. Yeah. Is it the Battle K9, or is it just the standard K9, little miniature K9?
It's just a standard.
Because I think that's slightly harder to get. I might be wrong, but I know that I've got one that's sort of battle damaged or something. It's the one from School Reunion. It's supposed to be before he renews himself.
Oh, right.
But I think the K9 you've got only came with the Tom Baker regeneration figure or something. I can't remember, but yeah, that's a cool little thing to have.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah. Are you going to put a picture of that on Facebook? Because I'm actually quite intrigued to see it.
Yeah, go on then.
Yeah, go on.
I'll
Bung
stick
one
one
of
on
those
later.
as well.
Yeah. What's your number 2, buddy?
My number 2, well, it's got to be the silver screen 50th anniversary 11-disc TARDIS set. It's quite a mouthful, isn't it? It's just, I mean, it's probably my number 1 actually, but I know that we're both saving the same thing for number 1, and I can't not have it at number 1. What is it, number 1? But this is a great set, and it's a definite highlight from the year. It's in a sort of, it's 11 discs, and they're all in these big long sleeves, featuring all the music from the beginning right up to modern day. So each Doctor gets his own disc, and it's in like a handmade wooden TARDIS.
Right.
And it's just brilliant.
Yeah.
It's probably one of my favourite things I own, actually. I absolutely love it. So that's a definite highlight from this year.
I'm so jealous.
I'm looking at it now. I've actually given it pride of place on the shelf there. It's brilliant. Yeah, it's cool.
Oh, I'm so jealous. It looks very cool.
It is good, and I've heard that they're actually exchanging for really, really silly money now. Someone sent me a link the other day because I put some pictures on Geeks Handbag Facebook, and someone said, "Have you seen that they're going for like £500 plus?" So I'm kind of glad I got it when I did.
Yeah, because I did look on eBay. I thought, I wonder if anybody's bored with it yet. so I had a look on there, and yeah, the cheapest I found I think was £515
really?
or something. Yeah, that was the cheapest. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, I almost wish I'd bought 2 because I could have sold one and made my money back for both in one go.
Very true.
But,
yeah.
Well, maybe if I'll jump in the TARDIS and go back and do that, I think.
Yeah, go timey-wimey on it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but it's a very cool set.
So okay, number 1.
Well, highlight number 1, it's got to be Peter Capaldi.
Of course.
Just brilliant. I mean, I do think the phrase "born to play the part" gets overused, but in his case, I genuinely believe he was born to play the Doctor. I just think he's been phenomenal. Just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, that was my number 1 as well. We share that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's that same. I know it's a bit of a cliche, and it's been overused a lot, but it just seems like he's relishing every single second that he's playing the Doctor.
Oh, definitely.
And you can tell, even though this Doctor's he's taken a slightly darker route, which is mostly probably down to the writing and stuff like that, but even though he's had to play this a bit darker, and there has been some fairly dark moments in it, even those moments, you can tell he's having a blast.
Exactly.
He loves it.
Yeah, and I think I was thinking about this the other day because I was thinking about, I've been watching a couple of the William Hartnell ones lately as well. I've gone back to a couple of those, and I was thinking, he's really encompassed that sort of tetchiness, but without being too much. There's a bit of Hartnell in there, but also there's the sort of really charming side of the Doctor. Like, one of my highlights, this will be number 4. One of my highlights was the little Doctor dance in Flatline. When he thinks he's got the TARDIS off the train tracks and it falls back on, and he just does that lovely little dad dance. I was thinking, it's just a wonderful little moment, that shows that he's a bit of a tetchy Doctor, but he's got a really fun side to him as well. And I just think Capaldi sort of gets it just right. He pitches it just right. And when he was cast, I mean, everybody sort of, because he is such a good actor and he's done some great work previously, I think everyone sort of assumed he was going to be good anyway, but there's no guarantee with it. They could have, it's all down to the writing and the performance. Everyone assumed he'd be good, but he really has lived up to what I hoped he'd be. And he's been different from what I thought as well. I didn't expect it to be quite as sort of tetchy as they've made him, or as he's playing it, but I love it. And I was thinking back when we said about how we, watched most of the episodes as they aired. With Series 7, I remember I was not over bothered if I missed one when it went out. Right. With Series 8, I really wanted to, because of Capaldi's Doctor, I genuinely couldn't wait for every weekend to roll round. And I didn't feel that as much with Series 7. So he's brought that to the role. He's brought that excitement back that I really want to see more of him every week.
Well said.
So that's why I think he's deservedly number 1.
Absolutely, number 1.
Number 1.
He's a joy to watch.
Oh, absolutely, mate.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah.
So that's our top 3 stuffs. Yeah.
And it's been a good year for Who, I think.
I think so. I think it's been a great year for Doctor Who.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And he's been a major part of that.
Yeah.
And Jenna as well. I mean, Jenna's character development's been great. So yeah,
all good stuff.
very good.
2015's looking pretty cool as well.
Well, actually, yeah, that reminds me. I was going to say it. That's the other thing about Capaldi is, I feel we've just sort of scratched the surface with him. I can't wait to see where we go from here. Do you know what I mean? I think there's a lot more great stuff to come from him, and also I think there's a bit of character development to come from him as well. Even though he's been brilliant, I think we're just scratching the surface with him. I think he's just finding his feet. Yes, as the Doctor. Yeah. So can't wait to see what we've got in store for us next year.
Yeah, I think it might be a Tom Baker kind of situation with him, where it's where he starts off great, but then it just, I'm not sure how, by some sorcery, it just seems to get even better than when you think he's at his best. He just pulls it out the bag, and we end up with something even better.
Oh, absolutely. I think I agree with you. I think he's really sort of I think now the reaction's gone down so well as well. I think he'll be so much more confident in the next series, and he's already great. So fingers crossed he's going to go from strength to strength.
Sure.
Yeah.
Good words, buddy.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah. Let's move on. Shall we crack on with our review?
Let's get into it because I'm looking forward to talking about this one.
Give us the title.
Okay, so we're going back to the very first Doctor Who Christmas special. Can you believe that? There's never been a Doctor Who Christmas special before. So we're drifting back to December the 25th, 2005, and we're looking at Doctor Who: The Christmas Invasion.
First things first. Be honest. How do I look?
Different.
Good different or bad different?
Just different.
Am I ginger?
No, you just sort of brown.
I wanted to be ginger. I've never been ginger. And you, Rose Tyler, that lot of good you were, you gave up on me. Oh, that's rude. So that's what man I am now, am I? Rude. Rude and not ginger. I'm sorry, who is this?
I'm the Doctor.
He's the Doctor.
Well, what happened to my doctor? Or is it a title that's just passed on?
I'm him. I'm literally him. Same man, new face. Well, new everything.
But you can't be.
Harriet Jones. We were trapped in Downing Street, and the one thing that scared you wasn't the aliens, wasn't the war. It was the thought of your mother being on her own.
Oh, my God.
Did you win the election?
Landslide majority.
If I might interrupt,
Yes, sorry. Hello, big fella.
who exactly are you?
Well, that's the question.
I demand to know who you are. I don't know.
Brilliant. I love that bit.
How cool is that?
Oh, superb.
You're
superb.
Awesome. So yeah, as you said, back in 2005.
I know.
So it's an hour-long special. I think. Did you say this? This was the first one that was officially labelled as a Christmas special.
Yeah. I had to double check because I thought it was, but then I thought, well, did anything sneak in that I've forgotten about? But no, it was. It was the very first time that we had a sort of proper feature-length Doctor Who Christmas special.
Yeah, and it's kind of fitting really because this is the first Christmas special podcast from us.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to do the first Doctor Who Christmas special.
Definitely, yeah. And like you, it's been a while since I've watched this one.
Mm-hmm.
I have watched it. I have watched it since it aired, but it's been a while since I watched it.
Yeah. So this was the first time that we'd seen David Tennant in a full length episode because we'd only see him. We only saw him for literally a matter of minutes, didn't we? From Parting of the Ways.
That's right. Yeah.
So the regeneration scene where Mr. Eccleston leaves us, and we saw Mr. Tennant pop up in a really funny first line.
New teeth, is it?
Yeah, new teeth. Oh yeah, Barcelona. Yeah.
I was thinking actually how they managed to keep that secret. I mean, I know Doctor Who wasn't perhaps as big as it became later on, but it was. I remember watching that regeneration for the first time when it aired and thinking, because I was thinking, is he going to regenerate? Are they actually going to do this now? I think there'd been a couple of little rumours in fandom, but there was nothing, it was still quite a surprise when Tennant popped up on the screen. And there's no way that, there was no sort of big fanfare or introduction for him, from what I remember. So it was a brilliant thing to see him regenerate and it to actually be a surprise.
Yeah, it's not like it's because nowadays it's a very big thing, isn't it? Like you had with Capaldi, I had a whole bloody live show about it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I was thinking when I was watching this. I was thinking it's a very sort of different time for the program. Sort of almost feels like a sort of the beginning of something very big. I think Doctor Who had come back and it had been successful, and Chris was great. But this was I think this was the sort of start of it becoming a real big show again.
Yeah. So I'm going to kick off with a question for you. How do you feel about? Because when I speak to a lot of Who fans about this particular episode, or when I have done in the past, the one thing that always gets said to me every single time is, yeah, but he spends most of this episode in bed.
He does, yeah.
Did that detract from your enjoyment of this one, or did you think it was written pretty well like that?
Well, do you know what? It should detract from it, but it doesn't. This is one of the things I felt when I was rewatching it. And I remember at the time thinking it as well. It's bizarre that the Doctor... It's a bizarre choice, I think, that Rusty Davies made to keep the Doctor in bed for so long. But I think because of the way the Doctor enters from that TARDIS, it's such a good moment. And I think maybe that's the whole reason for it. It's such a good build-up. You keep thinking, come on, Doctor, come back, and it's so great when Tennant steps out of the TARDIS and says, did you miss me? Or whatever. Is that what he says?
Did you miss me? That's it, yeah.
Yeah. And I just think it sort of shouldn't work, but it does. And I think one of the reasons is because the other characters and the actual sort of things that are going on in the story are so good that it keeps you entertained. Like you really sort of care. Well, I really like Rose and her mum, Jackie, and all the sort of family and all the characters are in it are so good, and there's loads of action and lots of story. That I think it doesn't detract the fact the Doctor's not sort of there. He's still central, even though he's in bed.
Yes.
What about you?
Yeah, I thought it hasn't really bothered me really, because the little nuggets of screen time that he gets in the first 2/3 of the episode are very, very cool, and it's got that nice build up to his sort of grand entrance towards the end.
Definitely.
And and those little nuggets, when he's at the very beginning and he passes out, and then when they're getting attacked by the Christmas tree, he pops out of bed, and and you've got that bit, and then he passes out again, and when they carry him into the TARDIS, and you don't, I mean, it's coming, he's coming towards the end, but it creates a very nice build up, and it didn't detract at all the enjoyment for me. Like you say, the Rose and Jackie are pretty good in this, and they're not the typical, because Jackie has a habit of being a bit annoying in certain episodes, but she was okay in this. You could see there was genuine concern.
I like the interaction between her and Rose. I think they work quite well together. I know what you mean. Sometimes Jackie was written a bit OTT.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's good in this, and there's some lovely comic moments as well, and they are funny. They're not over the top, like when the Doctor's she's saying, what do you need? He's like, I need you. Do you want a little ham sandwich? And she's going like that, and it's played really well. It could be over the top, but I think she works well. And I love that scene with the killer Christmas tree where she says, help me, and he just wakes up and destroys it with the sonic, and then he's sort of straight back down again. It works. Like I say, it's a little nugget, gives you that the Doctor's here, he's gone, and so you want him to come back again, and it does. It works really well to keep the momentum building and building until he finally makes his grand entrance at the end. Yeah.
And that scene that you referenced actually with him saying I need, and she's going through like a list of things, they use that in The Unicorn and the Wasp when he gets poisoned.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's almost the same kind of setup where he's trying to get out what he needs, and
what does he say? I need you to shut up.
That's it. Yeah.
What does he say in Unicorn and the Wasp?
A surprise.
Oh yeah. I've completely forgotten that. Yeah, that's really cool.
They almost mirror that that situation, which is very cool. But
Yeah.
one person I did like in this was Harriet Jones in this one. She was very firm.
Yes, I love the character, and I love the actress. Is it Penelope Wilton? I'm going out on a limb here. I think it's Penelope Wilton. But yeah, the actress who plays her gives a great performance. I love the character. I'm the Prime Minister. Yes, I know who you are. You know, that running gag is great. Yeah, really cool.
Yeah, she was cool because she kind of comes into her own, really, especially in. Is it the what's David Tennant's last two-parter where she gets killed by the Daleks at the end?
Yeah, the end of time?
The end of time, yeah. She kind of comes into her own there, doesn't she? She really makes a final stand for what she believes in, because she always has this very human side, and very protective of the planet. Once she finds out about, you know, aliens are real and there's a potential threat on the Earth all the time, and she kind of becomes this mother figure. And although she makes some pretty bad decisions at a couple of points throughout her time on the show, she from this point on, she really does take everything, you know, in control. You have to give Russell T Davies some props for that, because the characters, although she ends up killing the Sycorax ship towards the end, she does it in a particular style where she's got no regrets. You know, she does it because she thinks it's the right thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right. She's got to make that decision, and it's a tough decision to make. But I think, because the Doctor says, you know, they're all out there, and she thinks, well, we've got to sort of make a stand. We've got to show that we're not going to be walked over, sort of thing. So she makes that decision. Yeah, and it's something obviously that then creates a ripple between her and the Doctor throughout the sort of rest of the series and stuff. Because she does pop up a couple of times, I think, doesn't she?
Yeah.
I really like the character, and I like the fact that there's that sort of respect between her and the Doctor, but also this sort of difference of different way of dealing with things. You know, he sort of doesn't forget what she's done, but she does it because she thinks it's the right thing for the human race. So yeah, it's a nice little nice bit of characteristic writing there from RTD, I think.
Indeed, yeah. And what did you think when David Tennant finally does get stuck into the episode properly, when he comes out of the TARDIS in his dressing gown still and his pajamas? What did you think to him as the Doctor when we finally see him in full swing?
Yeah, I love it. I mean, he's straight into it, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
It's like he's you can feel the adrenaline running through him as an actor. He's just loving it, I think. And you can, it comes through in the performance. And the thing about the big threatening button and all that, it's, a nice bit of humour. I love the sword fight. I think it's great,
The sword fight, I was quite surprised at that, because you very rarely see the Doctor engage in any kind of fight or battle with that, physical props kind of thing.
Yeah.
I was quite surprised to see that in a modern day Doctor Who, a classic sword fight. But I think it worked quite well. I think it was quite cool.
Yeah, I do, because he basically just wins the contest. He's no intention of killing the Sycorax, and until the Sycorax then sort of goes behind his back to kill him, and he throws the Satsuma. And I think that's a lovely little bit of writing as well. The Satsuma, they put the joke in with the apple right at the start, and then he pulls it out at the end to actually sort of defeat the enemy.
Yeah,
is a brilliant little twist of writing, I thought.
Yeah, very cool.
And I love the line as well. I'm that kind of no second chances.
That's very cool.
You can see Tennant thinking, I am the Doctor, and this is who I am now. In terms of the character, no second chances. Yeah, I really, really liked it.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think that last 15-20 minutes where he's absolutely going for it. It's his first proper block of screen time.
Yeah,
and he really needs to make his mark and put his stamp on the role. And bloody hell, he just absolutely went for it, and that didn't stop his whole time on the show. He had that same level of energy and that level of just the way he played that character. He continued that throughout his entire run. There was not so good episodes for his era, and the writing wasn't great all the time for him. But regardless of the script that he had, and regardless of the story, he always played the Doctor in that same that same level of enthusiasm and just awesomeness.
Yeah, I think he actually got better. I think perhaps some of his stories didn't. Like you said, I think there was a couple of stories that weren't so good as time went on, and it did get a bit dour in his era. But I think as the Doctor, I think he became more comfortable in the role, and he was always good. I think he always gives a sort of solid performance. But I think I'm thinking sort of as him in the waters of Mars, he's really assured in his performance. He gives he's really is the Doctor for me. In that episode. Whereas perhaps in some of the episodes before that, he's a bit still finding his feet a bit, obviously. Which is why I want to watch the next episode, the New Earth, because I remember thinking in that he's a bit sort of light and still finding his way a bit. But he always gives a good performance. I sometimes wish they'd let him use his real accent, because I sometimes find the Mockney sort of a little bit grating. Not very much. Just sometimes it grates on me a little bit. I perhaps would have preferred him to have just used his normal accent a bit, I think. But yeah, he does make his mark straight away, I feel, in this episode. Yeah,
technically speaking, he speaks with an estuary English accent.
Oh right, where are you getting that from? Not Wiki.
Wikipedia.
Of course. Yeah. Well, it must be right then.
Yeah. It's an accent widely spoken in southeast England, especially along the River Thames and its estuary.
Fair enough. I mean, it works. There's nothing wrong with it. It totally works. And probably if you didn't know he was Scottish, it probably wouldn't even play on my mind, if you know what I mean.
Aye. Yeah. Do you remember the Tooth and Claw?
Yes.
He did some Scottish accent when they bump into Queen Victoria.
That's right.
Very briefly, we got to see his native. We got to hear his native tongue.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's quite a nice little idea, actually, having them go to Scotland so he could use it. I remember thinking that was cool.
Adam.
Yes.
What did you think to the Sycorax?
I think they're brilliant, actually. I would actually like to see more of these guys. I think they looked good with and without the mask. I think both looked really good. A great villain. They are just downright evil. Mm-hmm. I mean, I was saying earlier, actually, there was lots of story in this. There isn't actually much storyline. It's very sort of straightforward. They just want to invade the Earth. Mm-hmm. It's actually quite a very simple story. It's just an invasion of Earth. But they're believable and they're really evil. Do you know what I mean? They don't hesitate to kill, when they bring them aboard the ship. They whip them to death. There's no sort of mercy in them. Mm-hmm. And I think they look really good. I think visually they looked great. Yeah,
it's the physical makeup was very, very cool. And I like the reasoning behind the whole invasion of Earth thing as well, where he's explaining to Harriet Jones that the universe is starting to take notice of the Earth now. I quite like that story setup where he's essentially saying that because we're sending out so many probes and doing this and that, other worlds are starting to take notice, which kind of explains a lot, because you do have these random episodes where you think for no reason at all this alien race has turned up to invade Earth. But it turns out that there's a possible reason for that, and that is that we're reaching out into space, I guess, and telling people we're here.
Yeah, I like that as well, because it's it brings a bit of reality to it. Because we do send out these things in real life, so I like that as well. It just brings a bit of realism to it. That it gives like you said, it gives a reason why they're there and stuff. And what did you think of the actual overall look of the episode? Did you think the sort of effects and the CGI and stuff stood up, considering this is 2005, it's the first special? Do you think it still looked good?
Do you know what? I think it looked pretty good. I was when I watched it, I thought, this actually looks pretty good. In fact, some of it looked better than some of the Capaldi episodes.
I actually thought the same thing, which is kind of why I asked you. I'm thinking of the very beginning scene as well, with the TARDIS crashing into the bins, and the Doctor coming out. What a great entrance. Yeah, brilliant. And I think it still looked good. Mm-hmm.
The only one effect that I didn't think looked very good at all, and it didn't detract from my enjoyment. I'm not going to put a down on it too much, but is when the Doctor's hand regenerates after getting cut off.
Yeah, I would agree a little bit.
But it's 2005 after all.
It didn't look terrible,
Yeah.
but I know what you mean.
They're
I
like
think
plasticine.
that whole fight scene actually sort of yeah, it did. The whole fight scene is it looks good when they're sort of showing the high shots because it's just the sky. But I think there are bits of it where they sort of show the outside spaceship where it looks a little bit thing. But it's still, you're right, it still doesn't look any worse than what we've sort of seen in Series 8. It still stands up pretty good.
Yeah.
I like the Sinister Santas. I think they worked brilliantly.
Yes, they were
And
cool.
I like the Killer Christmas Tree. It gets a bit of stick. I like it. I think it's great. I love the fact that the music is the actual Christmas music because it's sort of done in a really twisted, horrible way. I think it works really well. I like the Killer Christmas Tree.
No, I thought they were the Killer Santas and the Christmas tree. I thought they were nice little touches because they weren't in your face. They didn't take over too much, but they did have a cool place within the episode. I thought they were cool.
Yeah, I do. I was just thinking as well, actually, you were saying about, the Doctor being in bed for a lot of it. And, obviously like Rose and Jackie and Mickey carry a bit of the episode. I was thinking, I don't know that would work for me if they did it with this series. If Clara, I think it's because of the writing and the characters that it works. I don't think it would work for me personally if it was done now with Clara.
Right.
If it was Peter Capaldi, if they'd have done that story with Peter Capaldi, for example, him in bed for half the episode and Clara running out. I mean, they sort of did it with Flatline with him being trapped, but it wouldn't work as well for me if they did it now. Right. And I think that's because I like, although Rose became a bit annoying, later on in the series, I think in this she's pretty good.
Rose,
and I like her family.
Yeah, I thought she was cool. She's got this kind of strength about her already. Although she's been with us for a series already, she's got this inner strength, which is quite cool. And like you said earlier, it did get a little bit kind of dreary toward the end of her run with the Doctor.
She becomes a bit bratty. That's the problem. She's quite sort of feisty and stuff at the start, and she works well with Chris. I think Chris Eccleston. I do feel sorry for Mickey. He don't have to put up with a lot of crap.
Indeed, yeah.
He's quite understanding. Especially, I was thinking in this episode as well. He was really sort of accepting about her sort of. Well, could you call it love for the Doctor? I suppose you would, really, wouldn't
I guess so.
Yeah, he sort of. I think he even says, doesn't he? You love him, don't you? And all this. He's. Poor old Mickey.
Yeah, he comes up good in the end though with Martha.
Does.
Yep, much better fit.
That's true.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, but he did put up with a lot though from Rose.
Yeah, I like Rose's dad as well. I know he's not in this episode, but I think this is RTD comes in for a bit of stick, but I think he was good at writing some likable characters. Maybe it's down to the acting. But I like Pete Tyler. I think he was good. Actually, that reminds me that's one of the things that I think's good about this episode as well, is the performances in it are good. Like even the extras are good. Like I have to say, in some of the Christmas specials, and even in the series itself, some of the extras and the acting can sometimes be really cringy. The performances in this are all really good. Like there's even like a policeman that's in it for like 10 seconds or whatever when they're all on the roof. When they're all taken over and everyone's going to the rooftops.
Yep.
And everyone in it's really giving a good performance. They're really trying to be good in it. All the unit people that are only in it for very small scenes, that they're not sort of doing this gawpy over the top acting, which sometimes we get. And that's one of the things I felt about this episode. There was nobody in it that I thought was cringeworthy. Even the Mr. Claypole guy, the guy with the beard, Mr. Claypole.
Yeah.
Even him, he's really good. He's going for it. He's trying to give a sort of good performance. He's not sort of doing an over the top, trying to sort of steal the show performance. He's just good.
Yeah.
I thought everyone in it was good, actually.
I agree. Yep.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, which is why I think it works really well. This Christmas special.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I didn't think I would. I thought, the Christmas specials haven't been, although I enjoy them at Christmas, I very seldom watch them outside of that. And I thought, I haven't watched this one in a while, and they haven't had a great track record, but I loved it. I absolutely love watching this one. And we had a few people on Facebook, didn't we, that gave their views on this.
Yes, it was quite mixed, actually, wasn't it, for this one?
So, Harry Westergaard. Hi, Harry.
Hello, Harry.
Hi, Harry. I think it's one of the better Christmas specials, tied with Runaway Bride. I like the sicker acts, but I thought they were better with their masks on.
I liked them with or without, actually. I thought they looked pretty scary, but both. But yeah, okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
I love this one from Ryan Anthony. Didn't like this episode at all.
I'm surprised. I am surprised, Ryan. So yeah, he's saying he doesn't like it at all. Nothing in it he liked, which I think there's a lot to like in it. But hey, not for everybody.
Exactly, yep.
This is my cousin, actually, the next one, Matthew Blanks. Hello, Matt.
Hi, Matt.
We've watched a couple of Christmas specials together over the years, actually, because we always have big family parties. We didn't watch this one together, though. But he says Killer Christmas Trees was a bit silly, but the sicker acts were good baddies. Yes, I think they were good baddies, but I do like the Killer Christmas Tree. And Nick Riches, he says, well, he says quite a lot, actually, but basically, let me have a look. What does he say? My only complaint, should have kept the dressing gown as his costume. Very, very Arthur Dent.
Yeah.
But new Doctor, only one series into the reboot. What if it was rubbish, he says. What if it was no good? Turns out it was the first outing of one of the greatest Doctors ever, despite spending a lot of time in bed. He was great. So Nick Riches liked that one. And he's right. It's a new beginning. It could have gone either way. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So thank you guys for getting in touch. That's very cool. And okay, rating time. What go on then? Out of 5.
Out of 5?
No, sorry, 10, isn't it? Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say you're going low.
Sorry, dude. Yeah, out of 10.
Do you know what? Enjoyment factor included. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I loved it.
It's another snap moment.
Is it?
Yeah, 9 out of 10 for me. Easy.
And I'm going to just throw this in here because I can't review this episode and not mention it. One of the things that brings this up to a 9 for me is the ending where the Doctor picks his costume out of the TARDIS wardrobe and we get Song for 10. It is such a feel-good factor at the end of this episode. It's just brilliant. It's possibly one of my favourite moments of Doctor Who because I just love it. We see the TARDIS wardrobe. It's a lovely, I know it's CGI, but it looks great to me. The spiral staircase with all the Doctor's old costumes and just the Song for 10 in the background. It's just so feel good.
Yes.
And I love it.
And I really agree with you. The end of it is I love that moment as well. When we first see that, the brown suit and the Converse and the coat, it just looks amazing. And it's, I'll be honest with you, I didn't know whether to say this on the recording or not, but I did choke up a little bit.
Yeah, man.
Just a little bit. Just a tiny little bit. When he was looking at all the costumes and stuff, and then he looks in the mirror and he's got that very satisfied look like, yeah, now I'm the Doctor.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant little scene, and it just brings it all nicely round. And we know that we're off to new adventures at the end of this one. They're looking up to the sky. It's a new beginning for the Doctor, and Tennant's raring to go. You can just feel it in the whole cast. And I think you said on Twitter or on Facebook, it looks like they had a blast making this. You can see they're raring to get into the new series.
Yes, absolutely. And the very ending as well. I love when they're. You got to feel sorry for Mickey, like you said earlier, because he knows that Rose is about to disappear again. But then, the Doctor and Rose have that little moment where should we go? It's very lighthearted and very feel good, and then they're off. And like you say, it's looking forward to new adventures and stuff. So, that's the reason why I kept watching series 2.
Yeah.
Because after that, I thought I have to keep watching. This has pulled me in, just as it did the first time I watched it, and wow, yeah, loved it.
Absolutely, I totally agree with you. I've just got to quickly say as well, I remember when I first watched this, I did watch it on Christmas Day. I was at my nan and Gramps, we were having a big family party, and I thought, I'm not going to get to see it because it's, all the family and everything's kicking off for Christmas Day. And I got a phone call from a friend, and she said, do you want to come over? And I remember saying, if I come over, can I watch Doctor Who? She's like, yeah, okay, we don't watch it, but you can watch it. I went round to her house, and I was sat there with her and her mum and dad, who never watched Doctor Who. And we all sat there and we all watched it. And I'll tell you how much we enjoyed it. I remember her dad getting a phone call in the middle of it. And he said, oh, I'm sorry, I'll call you back. We're watching Doctor Who. And it was a phone call from somebody from America. And I've never forgotten that he was, this program that he'd never really sort of too bothered about. We all sat there, we all enjoyed it. And I just remember that thinking, wow, he just tells someone from America, can't talk now, I'm watching Doctor Who. So that's, every time I watch this episode, I think back to that, and that's how good it is. I think it was just a real good Christmas special.
Oh,
everything
man.
I'd want from a Christmas special.
Yeah.
Just feel good,
What a great memory as well.
It is,
How cool is that?
totally, yeah. I was watching it, it just took me straight back to that day.
Yeah. Oh, awesome.
Which is awesome, yeah.
Yeah. Well, on that note, then we're gonna wrap for this episode.
Yeah, really enjoyed that one.
So that is going to wrap for episode 22.
Indeed.
It's been a really good one, this talking through the Christmas invasion and some other bits and pieces. It's left me feeling really good and on a really good high.
Me too, mate.
It's been awesome.
Definitely. Yeah.
And this is going to be our last podcast before Christmas.
Yes.
So what from me, whatever you guys are doing for Christmas, I hope you have a fantastic time. And you really enjoy it, and I hope you get lots of cool Doctor Who goodies in your Santa sack.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Let us know what you get, because I'm sure there's lots of Christmas goodies on your Christmas list. So let us know what Santa brings you.
Indeed. So head over to bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. You can check out all of the previous episodes, and you can find links to Twitter and Facebook. Jump onto those, give us a follow and a like, and we'll have a chat with you guys on the interwebs.
That's it. And I'd just like to say to all our listeners, a very Merry Christmas, and here's to a fantastic New Year.
Absolutely, mate. So we mentioned earlier on the podcast that Adam and I have got some cool plans for the podcast next year. So we'll be revealing some of that stuff as we start 2015.
Yes, and we'll be back with a review of Last Christmas as well.
Indeed, yes.
That'll be our next one. So let's hope we're as positive about that one as we have been about this one.
Yeah. So it's a very Merry Christmas from me.
And it's a very Merry Christmas from me.
We'll see you next time. And remember, Allons-y!
So, where are we going to go first?
That way. No, hold on. That way.